Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another good looking puzzle here. As you can see, it's another Fog of War. It's been, again, a few days since I've been able to get one of these guys in front of me to start looking at. This one is called Foggy 4 by Samuel I don't think I've done a puzzle by Samuel before, so that's awesome that we get to, at least for me, get to see this one from them, and it happens to be a Fog of War. So, anywho, that's it. Let's just get into our rules and see what's going on here. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Now we have all lines are exactly 4 cells long. So we have to remember that for bits and pieces that we can see that are in and out of the fog. Lines only move orthogonally. They do not branch or overlap. And then we've got the actual bits of the rule sets here. So Renban lines, the purple lines in the grid are Renban lines. Digits on a line form a set of non-repeating consecutive digits in any order. So currently we can see these as the purple Renban lines. And on those digits, we must have 4, because again, all the lines are 4 cells long. We must have 4 consecutive digits. And that applies to all of them. Then we also have German whispers. So green lines in the grid are German whisper lines. Adjacent digits along the line must have a difference of at least 5. At the moment, we only have 2 of those showing. And again, in German whisper lines, the digits must be 5 digits apart. So whatever this one is, both of these have to be 5 away from it, etc., down the line. Then we also have XV cells, which we do have a couple of them here. Cells separated by an X sum to 10. So these guys here and these 2 here. And then we've got cells separated by a V sum to 5. There's one here and one here that we can see bits of. And those just have to add up to 5. And then not all XVs are given. So there's no negative constraint there. And then last, of course, we have fog. So part of the grid is covered fog. As correct digits are placed, the fog will clear from surrounding cells. So as usual, if we were to figure out what this digit was, all of this would clear a fog, and then hopefully there would be more information, more clues sitting behind this fog that we can use to continue the puzzle. So that is that. I'm going to leave that right there. I think that's the best way to go, especially to remind ourselves that the lines are 4 cells long and do not branch or go diagonally, because that will probably be very useful. That's it. The link is in the description below as always, and let's get into this thing and get it figured out. So, where are we going to start? There's actually quite a bit of information that we can see at the moment. Usually it's just like one little corner or one little spot, but we have a few sections where we could look at. And that probably means that we're going to have to use those in different sections of how we're solving this to get the entire puzzle solved. That reminds me to put my phone on vibrate so it doesn't make annoying noises the entire time we're doing this puzzle. Let's get started. So the first thing I saw was this Renban. So we have an X clue on the Renban. So we clearly couldn't put a 9-1 or an 8-2 or even a 7-3 on this, because there wouldn't be any way to get from the 3 back up to the 7 or any of the other ones I just mentioned. So 3, 4, 5, 6, it doesn't get there. So this X clue has to be a 6-4. It's the only thing that's left over. And it means there has to be a 5 on this thing as well, but this is a 5 clue. And even if we weren't able to tell if this was a 5 clue, we could therefore say this can't be 5 anyway, even if maybe this is an X and it just appears to be a V. But we can say, since we have to have a 5, it has to go right here. And that does show that it is in fact a V clue, even though we pretty much knew it was. That said, we know this digit is either going to have to be a 3 or a 7 to keep our Renban. Well, we obviously can't put a 7 on a V clue, so this is 3. And therefore, this has to be 2 to equal 5. Now we've got a good start here. Next on the block, we know there's going to be a 4 down here somewhere. We can't quite tell where these Renban lines go after they enter into the fog. So there's probably not a ton there we can look at the moment. We know we have another 4-cell Renban, because we can see this one is purple if you have color blindness and can't make that differentiation. This actually is a purple Renban line that we've uncovered here. We know that this extends into all of these and it can only be 4 cells long, so it must be these 4 cells. Now, with that said, we don't necessarily know what those can be, but we do know something else because we figured out this V. We know this is a V. This has to be a 1-4 pair, which forces this to be a 6 and this a 4. Now, next in line will be what? And I'm wondering if we need to look up this column because we've got some things going on. Or, well, I don't think we can do much on this Renban. One, we don't know exactly where it goes. It could either go up here like this, go up like that, or extend across. Well, I guess it can't. See, lines do not overlap, so it cannot go across. It does something like this. So maybe that is useful because it's going to tell us that we do not have, or this can't be a 1. Because if it was a 1, we'd have to use a 4, and no matter which way we create our 1, 2, 3, 4. But if this is a 1, this is our 4, and we can never get back to it because we can't come back diagonally. So this has to be 4, and therefore this has to be 1. Now, if this is a 4, we know we can't use 1 on it. So bare minimum, we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we have to have a 5 on it because it's either 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 4, 5, 6, 7. They all have 5s, and we've got a 5 looking at it. So this is our 5. And that's going to show us this German whisper line here in correlation with this German whisper. And we can probably do some things over here, but I'm going to continue in the process for the moment. So at least to see if we can continue the process. And then if we have to jump over, we'll do that then. So on here, we do not know what these 2 digits are, and there's nothing else out here that's going to tell us what they can be. They could be 2, 3, they could be 3, 6, or they could be 6, 7. We don't quite know. The other thing, like I was saying previously, is we can look back at this Renban and try to make some determinations because of our column. Now, these are from 5, 7s, 8s, and 9s. One thing I guess we can say is we can't have a 5 and a 9 on here. But can we take that any further? I don't quite think we can with what we are seeing. Yeah, I don't think so. The other thing we can say is there has to be a 4 in one of these. But again, that doesn't say the 4 is on the Renban. It could be off of it. I guess, I guess there's always a 6 on the Renban, is there not? Because let's say it has a 9 in it. It's 9, 8, 7, 6. If it has an 8 in it, it still has to have a 6. It's got a 7 in it. It still has to have a 6. The only condition where it may not have a 6, and I guess that is possible, it could be, well, no, it can't. I was thinking it might be possible for this to be 5, 4, 3, 2, but then what the heck do you put in one of these? There has to at least be the 5 and stuff, so there's always a 6. So one of these 2 is 6. And then one of these is 6. Now, I don't think here we can go any further because we can't tell if it's a 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, that sort of thing. At least it doesn't appear so. So let's maybe shift gears for a second and take a look at our German whisper. Now, we know both of these have to add to 10, and they also have to be far enough apart where the two digits that are adding up to 10 are 5 apart. The only way that works is with 9, 1, and 8, 2. Just can't be anything else, because the other options, again, to get to 10 are 7, 3, and 6, 4. Neither one of those is 5 apart from each other. So this is not a 1, which means it's not 9, which means this is our 1, 9. So we get a 2, 8 and a 1, 9. Now, correlating that back to anything else, I guess we can say there's a 1 up in here. Do you have anything? Yeah, we can't rule a 2 out of here, as we said before, because it could be. Could possibly still have a 2 here, and this could be a 3. Now that would be quite interesting, actually, if it was a 2, 3, because it would force a 3 over here as well, but we can't get to that point yet, so we'll think elsewhere for the moment. We can't, okay, there's some things we're not going to be able to put on this German whisper. It's going to be anything that requires more than one digit to work with it. So obviously you can't put a 4 on here because you can only put a 9 with it. You can't put a 6 on here. The problem with that is what? Actually, because there's a 1 up here, we can also say we can't put a 7 on here. So the two high digits have to be 8 and 9. And I will mark that because we're going to get an 8, 9. Well, these can't be 8, these can't be 9, but we get sets of both of them. So 8s and 9s have to go up here with one other digit. That's going to depend on what we decide works. Now, if we have 8s and 9s and we don't have a 1, the other two digits are going to have to be 2 and 3, because obviously we can't put a 4 with an 8. So we're going to have this be a 2, 8, and this be a 3, 9. We can get rid of some of this stuff here. Does that push anything else up? Yeah, it does. So it puts that 2 up here with the 8 and the 9, which means this is not 6, which means there is a 6 on our Renban, which means, well, essentially what it means is we couldn't ever put a 2 on it, but we just already discovered that, and we know this isn't a 2. All right, so we've got 2s, 8s, and 9s, and okay, 3 is looking in here, so there has to be a 3, there has to be a 6. We get a do in the corner that way. We're going to know what these two digits are. They have to be from 6 and 7, it appears. These 3 digits, we need to get, well, we know what this digit is, so let's just put that in. What is it? It's a 7, so we'll get that in there. We know that these two digits then are going to be from 4 and 5, it appears. Okay. All right. What else do we have on the list here? Now that we've got some digits in here. Again, we know the 4 and the 6 are over here. We know there's a 5 over here. What else can we determine? This has to be a 7 by Sudoku, so let's put that in. We know what these need to be. They are 1, 8, and 9, which means this ends up being our 2. There we go. It clears a little something, but nothing quite useful yet. But we can determine what these 3 digits are, and then hopefully that will process this Renban. We'll see what it is, though. So it's 3, 4, and 6. Let me get rid of the 4 and 6. Oh, wrong button. And this, of course, is not a a 6 because we said we have to have a 6 on here. So we've got either a 4 and a 6 or a 3 and a 6. Well, we can't do 3 and 6 because we'd have to put the 4 here. Don't know if you can hear that helicopter that just flew straight over my house. But this has to be a 3 because we can't make this work elsewhere or otherwise. So this is now a 4 and a 6, and it has to have a 5 and a 7 with it. And what does that do? It makes this have to be an 8, 9. And we have to put a 1 and a 2 over here. But with all that said, we're going to need to find, yet again, another place to start looking to kind of clear up some of our fog here so we can continue forward. Now again, I think there were no negative constraints, right? Yeah, that was accurate. So I just want to make sure we've got that correct. Okay. Now, is there anything in this row that's useful? We know one of these is going to be a 3. What else do we have? The rest are the 4, 5, 6s, and 7s, which we can't determine because they're both straddling this line. So we might not have anything down here we can really work with at the moment. Maybe we need to consider this bit of Renban. Is it possible that this Renban can do this? It's probably a good question to ask. Because if it does, I think it breaks our puzzle. Because you can't ever do 1, 2, 3, 4, because you got the 4 here. You can't do anything between 4 and 6, obviously, and you can't do 7, 8, 9 without having a 6. So this actually does turn down like this. That might be useful to show that for the moment. And we also, this 4 actually does come into play, because we know the 4 is down here. Dog wants to get out again. Can you wait just a few minutes? Yeah? Okay, cool. Thanks. We know we can't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can't ever have a 4, period. So we're looking at from 5, 6, 7, 8s, and 9s. Now, these can't ever be 6s. This can't ever be a 5. So I think what we're saying is we have to have an 8 and a 7 and a 6. And because the 6 has to be on it, this is our 6. So yes, that's what it was. Now then, we don't know if this is 5, 7, 8, or it's 6, 7, 8, 9. But again, we do know there is a 7 and an 8. So this is not 8. We also know that one of these is a 6. And we get a little German whisper that's poked its head out in here. Oh, that's going to be quite useful, actually, because we know these can't be 4s for the same reason. Wait, is that true? No, we can't say that. Let's not make that mistake, because they could be catty corner 4s with catty corner 9s, because this crosses over into a different region. So we have to be careful with what we say sometimes, because we can jump to conclusions, and those could be incorrect. So what does this actually tell us? Or we're going to know a little bit more about this Renban by the way that this is shaped. So we know that this Renban has to be 4 cells long, and it cannot turn into our German whisper because lines can only move orthogonally and do not branch or overlap. So this is 4 cells in a straight line. I think what that means is this has to be a fairly mid Renban line, because we can't use like a 1, 2. We can't have both 1, 2 or both 8 and 9 on it, because it would break this. So there's never a 1 on it and there's never a 9 on it. It's kind of the bullet points of that presentation. I don't know if we can take that a ton further. We also, I mean, we can draw this all out, that we know that this does this. And again, we know that both of these are organized in such a way with the low digits are catty-corner to each other, and the high digits are catty-corner to each other. So what else do we have? We can't have a 1 or a 9 on here. It means there has to be a 1 somewhere in here. Now the 1 could very easily go on this German whisper. It would make complete sense for it to do so. But again, because it straddles a region, it's not quite as powerful. Jeez. Hold on a second. I'm going to let my dog out the room. Always fun. I'm sure you heard her in the background. Anywho, let's get back to the video here. What do we have going on? Okay, so let's look at Sudoku. We have to have a 2 in one of these guys. Now, we said we could possibly have a 2 on here, because we could have 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Now leave our 1, 2 in this kind of orientation. Is there anything that's a given on this Renban at the moment? I think there has to be a 5 on it, actually. So we think about what are the possibilities. It's either going to be, well, the two extremes are 2, 3, 4, and 5, or 8, 7, 6, 5. So there's always a 5 on it, which means this is not 5. The question would be, can we locate the 5 on it? I don't think we can, because the 5 could easily be up in, well, it can't be that one particularly, but it could be up in this region, and then this becomes a 7, 8, 9. Well, actually, it can't do that, which is interesting. This has to be some combination of a high and a low digit. Now that we think about it, it makes a lot of sense. So there's no way this can be 9, 8, 7, 6, because it doesn't leave us any high digits. So this can't have a 9 on it. So let's get rid of these marks. We know this is a 5, 7, 8. We know one of these two has to be a 5. We know there has to be a 9 on here, which means this isn't 9. Now that 9 being on here does kind of sit well with the possibility of being 2 4s in some configuration with 2 9s. 7. No, we already got the 7. So one of these is 7. Let's just peruse our possible numbers here. We have to get a 1 in here somewhere. Now the 1 could very well go with the 9 as well. Again, we said it can't go on here. Okay, we can reduce what this can be now as well, because we said the extremes were 8, 7, 6, 5. This cannot be 8, 7, 6, 5 because it breaks this. So now we're down to 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 5, 4. So there's always a 4 on here, which breaks our concept of possibly having the 4s be catty corner. So if we know there's a 4 on here, can we say which one it is? I think we can. Well, no, we actually can't, now that I think about it further. Because we could have a 4 here, and we could still have a 4 in one of these two to go with a pair of 9s in some combination, and then just the other digit up here is some low digit. The other way to look at it would be look at Sudoku. This has to be from 3, 4, and 9 now. And we can't put a 9 on this. That then forces this to be a 1-2 pair. Get rid of that. This can't be 1. We said we can't put a 1 on our Renban here, so this is 2, which means this is 1. Now, if we know there's a 2, we know this is a 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all it can be, which means we're going to break this up into our 8, 9, 2, 1. That 8 forces the 7 up here, which means these are no longer 7, so we get a 5, 8 pair. This can't be 3. In fact, what are these two? We have to have a 9 on here, and it can't be here. So this is 9, so that's going to open up a little bit. You can remove that marker. And what is this now? It's a given digit of something, right? It's a 6. That's going to break all this up perfect. Not all of it, but some of it. All right. So we know we've got our 3, 4, 5 to go with our 2. We cannot put a 9 down here, so we cannot put a 4 up here. So this is a 3, 9. This is our 4. Get rid of some of this extra notation that we don't need anymore. And we can also get rid of this, because I don't need it. It just gets in the way. So we've got a 3, 9, which means we have to have an 8 in one of these two. Because we can't put a 9, so if we have a 3, the only two digits to go with a 3 are 8 and 9. And we've got a 9 down here to sort this out. So let's do that. That forces this to be a 3. We're going to get the end bits of a German whisper here in box 5. This is a 4 or 5. These 5s and 8s don't appear to quite be determined. Now we know that the 8 has to be catty corner from our 9. We get another bit of a German whisper, so it looks like our German whisper does this now. This has to be a low digit, but it could be 1, 2, or it can't be 3 because of Sudoku. Now that 8, though, does look back up here. So we get 5 and 8, and then we're going to get the 4 and the 5 and the 4. Good. Now, what else can we say about these two digits? They have to be 6s and 7s. I was going to look across, see if there's anything here yet, but doesn't appear to be. These all have to be from 1, 2, and 4. 4 being here would still be useful, but we can now look at this German whisper. We know it's going to do this because it doesn't branch and it doesn't overlap. So this has to be a high digit. So it's either 7, 8, or 9. This has to go back to low, so it's 1, 2, or 4 because it can't be 3. And then we go back up to high, or I guess it could be 6, 7, or 8. Oh, this 9 here, that's going to help us. I just saw that, so that's going to clear a little bit of fog. Not that we necessarily needed it, but it's going to do some work. Now we can say this cannot be 4 because of that 9 and also because of what we did here. Now this is a 6 or 7. Yes, this does have to be a 1 or a 2, which works perfectly fine. This could still be 9 with a 4. All right, is there anything else we just discovered here? This is not a 6. Let's just do some cleanup. All right, what are these 3 digits? They have to be 1, 5, and 7. So let's just get that in. And then let's look back at our puzzle and see if we've got some Sudoku sticking out here that we can use. I don't don't know that there is just yet. We probably need to continue with our other clues, but we'll give it a look-see because we're starting to get some things sorted out a little bit up top here, and there might be enough there to give us something. You know, one of these is a 4. That creates an X-wing on 4s, which means this is not 4, which means this is 4. That's good. What about these guys? We never did put the final digits in once we sorted some of this out. So this is 1, 2, and 9. And this, of course, is not 9. Okay, so we're going to get this digit because we got the 1, 2 pair and a 6, 7 pair. So this just has to be 5. It's going to say that's not 5. One of these is 5. This is a V clue, actually, now that I just see that, and it has to have a 4 on it, so it's a 1, 4 pair. Thought we might have had something crossing here that would have told us which one was which. But I don't see it just yet. Okay. That 1, 4 does look down here, though. Just making sure we're not missing anything. Okay. We don't seem to have any other clues at the moment that we can really jump into. So we're going to have to take a deeper look at what some of these are going to be, I think. Going to be what? Or maybe it's even a row that has like a single digit missing in all the possibilities we've now put down here. That does not appear to be the case, although one of these is an 8. Yeah. What about 8s up in here? We can't quite rule out enough. It'd be lovely to get an X-wing of some sort to get this thing sorted out. But I don't quite see it, so what else do we have? Let's look at our Sudoku again, because I feel like we're pretty darn close to figuring out the remainder of this. And sometimes all it takes is a little bit of clicking on some digits to see what's out there and what isn't out there. So we have the X-wing on 4s left over. No, the 5s don't do much for us. Sixes don't appear to either just yet. No. Okay, let's just check the 9s real quick at the last little bit here, just to make sure. And I don't see anything in Sudoku-wise, so we're going to have to figure out something else with what the clues we have. So what is it? This German whisper doesn't really seem like it's doing a whole lot at the moment. Yeah, it really doesn't for some reason. Like I said, this V was interesting to get us to, oh, the 1, 4 here, sorry. That does it. 2, 1, 2. 2. That should break Oop, I did this backwards, didn't I? If that's a 1, 4, this does, okay, sorry, being stupid. There do not have to be different digits. This is 1. That 2 forces are 7, which means this is not 7. This is 6 and 7. Then we can go over and do our 5s and 7s, and hopefully that'll crisscross and get us what we need. And okay, yep, let's just keep looking at what we've got. This is not 5, which means this one is. There we go. We done with the 5s? It does appear so, okay. And the 7 here gives us this 7. We just got to pick through our markings here. This has to be 8 or 9. That 7 comes back down and gives us the 1 and the 7. One of these is a 1. Keep feeling like I'm just not quite seeing one little thing here. Oh, 8s. That's going to be it. One of these 3 must be an 8. And one of these is an 8, so that's not an 8. This is. Not great, not terrible. What about these guys? Or just these 2 is probably the better way to look at it. They have to be from 2 and 3. Or not 2 and 3. 3 and 9. Huh, that actually didn't do much. What about you guys? We've got to be able to put the 3 and the 9 again, and also we're missing a 6. If that then can't be 6, so this is. So that's going to break that up. There we go. Now we've got an X clue we can work with. This can't be 3. This can't be 6, so this is 9. This is 1. This is 3 and 6. That's got to break something down here. Yes, it does. Not break it, but I mean break it open. This has to be the 3. This has to be the 9. This is the 8 and the 2. Therefore, this is left to be a 2, and that's all of our fog taken care of. That 9 sees this, so we get our 8, we get our 9, and all of this is going to unfold. We have to have what here? This is our 3, which means this is our 9. And now we just have to look across here, hopefully, and find some. Yes, the 9 there sees our 2 and our 9. That 2 cuts across and sees our 1 and our 2. That sees our 4 and our 1. And that 4 sees the 6 and the 4. And there we go. You saw the puzzle solution is correct. Other than one quick, dumb, I guess, determination there that I very quickly realized was not correct. That went beautifully. Excellent puzzle. It really did work together. There was a couple of points where it was just having to figure out where the next step to look is. Because like I said at the very beginning, since we had multiple portions of these lines that were uncovered by fog, it kind of felt like you're going to have to jump around a little bit, because the only reason to have all those things open in the fog is to provide information at some point to be able to go in and make some determinations. Anywho, excellent puzzle by samuelsamjo. Absolutely loved it. Fog of War, love them always. This one turned out great. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.